Well, my name's John Biggin. I'm the director at HMP Thameside in London.
Okay, and you've worked with Unify at both HMP Doncaster and Thameside to introduce in-cell telephony. What sort of system did the prisons have in place beforehand, and what were the disadvantages of that?
Well, I've actually worked with Unify right back from 2007 at Lavin Grange when we introduced in-cell telephony in the first place. And at that time, Lavin Grange had a wing-based system where there were just 2 or 3 payphones on each wing. Doncaster was an older build prison and it had the same system, but the difference with Doncaster is because it was old, we had to retrofit all of the cables. Yeah. And then Thameside was designed specifically with in-cell telephony in mind, and that makes a massive difference when you get into the design stage.
Okay. One of the primary objectives of Thameside is to reduce reoffending. How do you think the in-cell telephony supports this?
One of the things that we know about reducing reoffending is the importance of family ties. Just to give you a statistic, we know that prisoners who have improved relationships with family whilst they're in prison are up to 6 times less likely to reoffend. So in terms of allowing prisoners to contact family at a time that's convenient for them, as opposed to for 10 minutes when, at whatever time of the day they may be able to book the visit and actually use the phone, makes a significant difference. Another example I'll give you is Thameside particular, a big chunk of my population are foreign national prisoners. And so to be able to contact family at home at a time where it's not the middle of the night is a fantastic opportunity and really helps them to maintain those family ties that we know are so important.
This is a similar sort of question, but reducing reoffending has been a goal each of the prisons you've worked at. Why is the reduction of reoffending so important personally to you?
Because, for years and years and years we've been going through the same old motions about, warehousing prisoners and not doing anything with them and never seem to have moved forward. So for me, in the current climate, it's all about reducing reoffending because what we need to do is to prevent the next victims. So if we get that right in prison more, then the impact on communities when you actually measure it over a timeline is vast. So prisons these days are about reducing reoffending.
You also use mobile detection, and how does this help the running of the prison?
Well, clearly mobile telephones are an issue in prison and have been for some time. So the ability to covertly know where telephones are being used around the prison gives us it gives us the edge in terms of not only detecting them but actually seizing them and ending up with all the evidence that we get from being able to take an intact telephone from prisoners. Makes a big difference.
Interesting in how prisons run and featured in the news recently, and you've had a Guardian journalist do a tour of Thameside. Michael Gove's aiming to overhaul the prison system. Are there any changes you'd really like to see for the future of the prison service?
Yeah, if you listen to what Michael Gove is talking about in the current climate, he's talking about devolving a lot more responsibility and authority to governors, which I think is both long overdue and also a real opportunity. Because if you think about it, I've been in and around prisons for 30 years and I've been in charge of prisons for the last 12. So I think I understand what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And to give someone like me the opportunity to procure services and to be able to design the prison model in a way that I know is going to work is a massive opportunity. So possibly, a game changer in terms of how prisons are run.
And how do you see the technology developing to help with that, with the day-to-day running of prisons? Is there anything you'd like to see happening?
I'd like to see the use of technology spread throughout prisons, because at the moment one of the problems that you have is you have some really good systems operating in very small environments, whereby, again I'll give you an example, my prison at Thameside, I have in-cell telephony, but I also have in-cell IT and access to all of our systems through cells, and then I transfer a prisoner down to the next prison along on a progressive transfer, and the term progressive is quite interesting in that context because the prison next door has no in-cell telephony, no in-cell IT, and it just creates a big problem because prisoners don't want to move, and also because their progression stops. And I think that to get the best out of the system, it needs to be a system-wide application.
And last of all, what sort of service did you receive from Unify, and would you recommend them to others within the prison sector?
I have worked with Unify now for the best part of 8 years, I think, and across 3 different sites. And I must admit, when I was first introduced to the idea of in-cell telephony, the complexity of running a secure system with a piece of telephony in each cell I was quite sceptical. But my experience of working with Unify is the platform has been incredibly stable, and doesn't really go down that often, but when it does, the service that I've had from Unify has been great in terms of quick action, but also follow-up and learning from incidents. So the service has evolved as we've gone along. I've also enjoyed working with Unify in partnership to look at how we take the tech to the next level. So pushing into areas like mobile telephone detection and an eagerness to actually engage with that has been a great thing for me as a prison manager. To have a partner that looks in the same direction is really useful.